So before I do hand this off to Jeff, I want to make the formal announcement that the UFC has retained the United States Anti-Doping Agency, US USADA, as the independent administrator for our new drug testing policy. So with that, Jeff, let me hand it off to you.
Thank you very much, Lawrence. It's with great pride today that we officially announce the details of our new anti-doping policy. In the creation of my position as Vice President of Athlete Health and Performance, as Lawrence alluded to, the UFC has made a commitment to providing our athletes with the very best resources and tools to help them excel in their training and their rehabilitation while being an advocate for their long-term health and safety. The development of this new anti-doping policy is an important early step in our commitment and process. I'd like to read the first two sentences of our new anti-doping policy, and they read as, "This policy is a central part of UFC's expanded efforts to protect the health and safety of its athletes and also to protect their right to compete on a level playing field. UFC's goal for this policy is to have the best anti-doping program in all of professional sport." And based upon, as Lawrence was alluding to, my exposure and experience in the anti-doping world and anti-doping programs throughout the world in professional sport, this policy meets that goal. This is the most comprehensive, effective, best in all of professional sport. As Lawrence also stated a minute ago, we are proud to announce today that the United States Anti-Doping Agency will be the independent administrator of our new policy. USADA is universally recognized as the premier anti-doping agency dedicated to preserving the integrity of competition and protecting athletes who play fair and compete clean. In the coming weeks and months, myself, other UFC representatives, and USADA will embark on an education blitz to provide our athletes with multiple levels of education on the details of this new policy. Our education will include in-person presentations, hands-on demonstrations of online and mobile applications they'll be using. They'll be getting written material, and they'll be receiving online education courses. This program will consist of unannounced, year-round, in and out of competition testing with collections of both blood and urine, with the possibility of a collection occurring any place, anytime, with no notice. This policy is modeled on the World Anti-Doping Agency, or WADA code, and is consistent with the code's definition of prohibited substances and techniques, as well as collection procedures and the use of WADA-accredited laboratories. As part of our due diligence in putting this policy together, we went to Montreal and met with representatives of WADA. The sanctions under this policy will create a strong deterrent effect against the use of performance-enhancing drugs. A first-time offense for the use of non-specified substances such as anabolic steroids, growth hormones and peptides, blood doping drugs and products will be punishable with up to a 2-year suspension with the possibility of an additional 2 years where aggravating circumstances exist. This results in a possible 4-year suspension for a first-time offense. Second offense could double that penalty up to 8 years, and a third offense could result in a punishment up to a lifetime ban. The first offense for the use of a specified substance, which is defined under the WADA code as marijuana, cocaine, other stimulants, and glucocorticosteroids, which will be tested for in competition only, consistent with the WADA code. That will be punishable with up to a 1-year suspension with the possibility of an additional 2 years where aggravating circumstances exist. Our policy definition of in competition will be 6 hours before the weigh-in to 6 hours after the fight. The sanction in this area can double on each the second and third offense. Our policy will also include financial deterrence, with a violation occurring during or leading up to a bout, resulting in the disqualification of the result of that bout, the forfeiture of a title, the forfeiture of ranking, and any purse or compensation related to that bout. We have designated specifically in our policy that any purse or compensation forfeited will be put toward the cost of the UFC's anti-doping program or towards anti-doping research. We look forward to working with the various state athletic commissions where we hold events. We will be open and transparent with those commissions and adhere to the laws and rules of those commissions. We truly believe in fairness, and this policy reflects that. There will be due process afforded to our athletes and fighters in the implementation of this policy, from the collecting and handling of the samples to their rights to an appeal and arbitration. Our athletes will be treated fairly, evenly, and with due process under this policy. We will be transparent with our policy. It will be publicly available prior to our implementation of the policy, which will occur as promised on July 1st. With that being said, it's my pleasure now to introduce two representatives from the independent administrator of UFC's anti-doping policy, the United States Anti-Doping Agency, or USADA. First, as a track and field athlete that competed in the 1980s like I was, there was no bigger or better role model in that sport, or for any sport in my opinion, than USADA's current chairman of the board, Edwin Moses. Edwin's Olympic gold medals in the 400-meter hurdles in 1976 and 1984, and his 122-race consecutive winning streak between 1977 and 1987 are the epitome of an athlete with once-in-a-lifetime natural athletic ability who competed clean and fair. Second, the Chief Operating Officer of USADA for the last 10 years, Travis Tygart, has molded and led this organization that, again, is universally recognized as the premier anti-doping agency dedicated to protecting athletes who play and compete fair from those who don't. So at this time, I'd like to welcome to the stage Edwin Moses, USADA's chairman of the board, and Travis Tygart, USADA's chief executive officer.
Thank you for having us here today. We're very pleased to be here as an organization. And it is a truly historic event as UFC becomes the first professional sport in the United States to have an externalized, independent testing modeled after the key elements of the WADA anti-doping program.